What's going on, man? We're gonna give this a couple minutes and see if anybody jumps in here. Barry, if you're still in here, what's up, man? I'm gonna try to share this screen here in a second and do this deal on this YouTube video that Paul Thompson sent me the other day. I watched a little bit of it last night. I think it'll be a good react. He seemed to. Oh, there's my audio. Let me cut that off. My audio is working. But guy gets into pretty good detail on it. I didn't watch it all, but I thought it'd be good for us to watch together, and maybe other people will see some things that maybe I'm missing, or vice versa. So as a community, we can kind of take a look at this video. Now I'm on my headset. I got bored with the ear pods or whatever they are. Somebody sent me some studio ear pods. Them things done went out the window. I got so tired of them. The right one kept falling out of my ear. They don't hold a charge very long. They just, yeah, no, them things don't work. I'm gonna have to get the money to is oh my god, is that a ghost right there? Is that who I think it is? Check this dude out, man. That's a ghost right there. I thought this dude was dead. Glad you're still alive. Glad you're still doing well. Hope you're enjoying South Florida down there. But yeah, I got mad and threw the earpods out the window. That was a bad idea. But we're gonna get into this video over here. Let's see if I can get them up on the screen. Um, no, at least I'm not late with the stream. Barry, I don't pay attention, man. I'm worse than these brokers out here, bro. You ain't getting no detention from me. Now, this guy here has made a pretty serious claim, all right, in his video. Now, he's claiming he made over $1 million on his lease at Prime. Now, that's a pretty big claim, in my opinion. I've never leased a truck at Prime. I did at Stevens. It's the only one I can really kind of compare it to, and I never did anywhere near a million gross. I never did anywhere near a million. So that's a lot of money for a lease. So let's get into this and let's see how it goes. As y'all know, I got to stop it every once in a while, kind of make some commentary on it, so I don't get in trouble with YouTube. But we'll kind of go through it. I want to see what y'all think, what y'all's opinions are on it, and see if y'all are seeing anything I don't see. Now, hopefully, my internet will keep up with it because I'm running off my phone. I'm in Dallas, so I should have pretty good internet, but we shall see. Let me get over here. Yeah, internet's doing good. Let's see.
This truck grossed over $1 million for us. Our 72% cut. I know there's going to be some of you in the comments that are going to be very skeptical about this and say, well, you could do better here, or I did better than you. So here's a challenge. This is the put up or shut up challenge. Put your numbers, your average 52-week numbers, down in the comments below.
Well, if there's someone out there doing more than $1 million on their lease, I want to know about it. I haven't seen anybody claim that much. Who called you out?
And tell us who you drive for. I'm interested to hear from you. Let's get back into the video. Thanks for watching.
All right, we're gonna skip past the intro. If I can't have an intro, you can't either, bro. So we're gonna get past the intro and the advertisement. All right, let's get into this.
Today with another video, and I think this is one a lot of people have been waiting on. I hope you like numbers because we have a lot to go through, and I'm gonna try to make it as quick as possible. We have finished 2 full leases here at Prime Inc. And I'll put a link right here for this card. You'll take a look and see our first end of lease breakdown, which wasn't nearly as in depth as this one's going to be. As you mature as an operator, the more you do, the more focused you begin starting to be on certain things. My numbers now are way different than what they were then. Not just amounts, but also the in-depth versions of these numbers. So I tried to simplify it as best I could, but we've got a lot to dive into.
Well, I see 412 saying he's a team, and I can see that because he's going down the road. Is he a trainer, husband, wife team, or how's he working that out? Because he's in the passenger seat. He's not driving unless he's got one of them new fancy drive yourself trucks where he can sit in the passenger seat.
You guys, so we're going to take a look at the first lease that we actually completed with Prime. Was 597,407 miles. Took us 151 weeks to complete. The total lease revenue was $921,787.58 without the end of lease completion bonus. Weekly average was $6104.55 to the truck gross. Total cost to operate the truck for the 151 weeks was $533,390.72, which gave us a weekly average of $3,582.38 per week. That was across the board cost for that truck. Net revenue, which is take home to the bank pre-tax, was $388,396.86, which gave us a net weekly average of $2,572.16.
All right. A net weekly average of $2,572.16. Let me get my calculator out here because I'm just not that good with math in my head. 7216. All right. So if he's running team, you would divide that by 2. That would tell you what a solo driver, $1,286.08 net. Woo, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. That's about, oh man, man, I'm a company driver and can do 18 to 2,000 easy. I don't even work that hard. 1600's a really laid back week as a company driver. So wow, that's not too good. And he still got to take taxes out of that. 1286.08. And then and it depends on how you set your taxes up, but I mean, even if you only took out 20%, you're still taking out what, $260. So minus 260, that's 1,026.08. I don't know, man. I don't know. For a solo driver, 1,026.08 is pretty bad. And even for a team, 2,500 ain't all that great, I wouldn't think. But you see there, he said 151 weeks. So that's throughout his whole lease. That's not a year. So he's not making $1 million a year over there. He's making $1 million throughout 151 weeks. That's almost 3 years. That's 2.90. That's almost 3 years. So I don't know. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, at least he's making money, but there, I don't see. It's not something that would make me want to go jump and run and do a lease. You know. I mean, not whenever I can do that I can do more than that as a company driver with insurance, with 401k. I don't have to fix anything on the truck. The truck's not my responsibility. If it breaks down, I call a breakdown and get it fixed. So I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure I'm all keen on this so far. I don't know about the rest of y'all. What do y'all think? Let me hop over here where I can see what y'all are saying. I got to go to the other screen. Let me get up here and take a look at what y'all's opinions are. Oh, you'll have to call me, bro, because I tried calling you. I think your number was disconnected. Let's see here. What's this one? Yeah, I don't watch a lot of Prime because I know Prime controls a lot of how their drivers or what their drivers are putting on YouTube, you know? So since I know that, because I interviewed a couple of their drivers, one of them is still up, and he was actually prevented from going to Prime in the beginning because of some of the things he was posting on Facebook or YouTube. So Prime kind of controls their drivers a little bit or influences their drivers per se that are on YouTube, so they're not being 100% honest. So I don't normally watch a lot of Prime drivers on YouTube because it's just like talking to a Prime recruiter. I'm getting BS. But this was sent to me by a guy that I know that I went through orientation with over at Hunt Transportation. So I decided to take a look at it and see what it was about. Plus, it's got a catchy title, $1 million at Prime. You know, uh, let me see here. Husband wife team. All right. What's going on, trucker? What's going on? What's up, people? How's everyone doing out there? Winnemucca, Nevada. Man, I'm surprised you're on YouTube in Winnemucca. I've done pretty well on craps tables there, man. Gotta go hit them craps tables up. We got here. Bro also, so he made the whole video about me. Keeps lying and saying I'm prime. Pays him. Oh, okay. All right. I got you. I got you. So you've been over there kind of trolling him a little bit. Oh, it is public. This video is public there, 412. Let's see what Never Enough says. He thinks he's full of shit. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible, but even the numbers he's putting out, even if he's being honest about his numbers, those numbers are not all that impressive. You know, that's really not all that impressive at all.
Now, guys, I understand this is going to make your head hurt. These are a lot of numbers. Um, you got to understand there's a million ways to look at your revenue. It's not just rate per mile. We've actually broken it down into hours that were on the truck, total hours that you spent out on the road or the entirety of the lease, mileage by week, by day, everything. So there's a lot of different ways to look at your revenue that we're going to talk about here in just a minute. And you got to also remember too, guys, that for those of you that are going to come to the comments and say, "Well, man, I'm solo and I do that with my own truck, my own authority." This at Prime Inc., guys, when you're leasing or you're an owner operator and you are in this fleet, you're not at 100% risk. So there is no 100% risk out here. The whole part of working within a carrier, having that safety net, and having that partial dividend given back to them because you're using their numbers, their insurance, and all that stuff. So yes, there's going to be a lot of you who own your own truck, have your own authority, maybe with other carriers that might do better some weeks. This is an average. This is not. I mean, I've had weeks where I brought home $8,000 to the bank. Okay, just crazy numbers for 2,000 miles. Okay, and then there's weeks where we've only brought home 2,000 because we got hung up at shippers and receivers. Every week is not the same. You have to keep an open mind with all this. So everyone's home time is different. Well, we're a younger team, so we are out there getting as much as we can. We go home as often as we can because obviously we have our family at home and our girls. And guys, you got to understand everybody's situation is different. Okay, these are just actual numbers that I can give you, and you can take them and split them however you want. If you want to say, okay, this is a team
Okay, well get to the rest of the numbers. Come on, man. Get to the rest of the numbers.
number, I can split this in half for solo. Do that. Whatever you want to do. Take 15% of it off. Say, well, I don't want to run that hard. It'll give you an idea on what you're looking at when you come to Prime to lease a truck, what the costs are going to be in the back of your head. You can say, hey, look, all right, I understand this now. Now I understand that, hey, it's going to cost me X amount per day to sit at home, or it's going to cost me this on average. So remember that. All right, guys, let's start. Let's get in here. This is going to be for the Tonka, the 2021 Freightliner. This is her EOL week, or end of lease week, was on the 19th of January this year. Our 2021 Freightliner had 597,147 actual miles. 552,813 of those miles were dispatch miles. All right. Now you might say, some of you who are new to the industry say, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't the actual miles equal the dispatch miles? Well, they do zip code to zip code dispatching, and that's usually an industry standard.
That is not an industry standard. That's a scam trucking standard. Do not ever let anybody tell you that it is industry standard to pay zip code to zip code. It is what the bottom feeder companies have done, and because they're bottom feeder companies and they train drivers are entering the industry, they don't know any better. Industry standard would probably be practical miles, which is your shortest route from one address to the other. That's the way Creek Carriers pays, is practical miles. Now, if you're at the top of the game in the trucking industry, you're being paid hub miles or odometer miles, where you're getting paid for every mile you drive. And now I know he's probably going to get into that right here because he's setting himself up to talk about that for a second. And I think I saw earlier, because I was kind of paying attention, but where he mentions hub miles and he says, well, there's not that many companies that pay hub miles. There are companies out here though that pay hub miles. Where I work pays hub miles. There's other companies I've looked at that pay hub miles as well. So that don't ever, if you're a new driver in the industry, do not accept the fact that he's trying to tell you that zip code to zip code miles are an industry standard, because no, it's not. It's just what new drivers have accepted, and for whatever reason they stay with it, not realizing that you're working for free. You're working for free on the beginning of the load and on the end of your load. And if you're leasing a truck, not only are you working for free on the beginning of the load and end of the load, you're actually paying them to haul that freight on the beginning and end. And if it's not making sense to you what I'm saying, when you pick up your load, they figured the miles from the edge of zip code to the edge of zip code. So if you pick up a load in Houston, Texas, you're not getting your they didn't figure the miles until the edge of that zip code. So you don't actually start getting paid till you reach the edge of the zip code. So you may run 15, 20, 10 miles, whatever, till you get to the edge of zip code. You paid for that fuel. If they have an out of route mileage charge, like a lot of leases do, you're paying them to run those extra miles. I know at Stevens they had 2 cents per mile on out of route miles back whenever I leased there. I don't know what it is now. So you're paying them for those miles to haul their freight. And then on the other end of the load, as soon as you enter the zip code, your mileage stops. And again, you're working for free. And if you have an excessive mileage charge or anything like that, you're paying them to haul that freight. So no, do not accept that as an industry standard. That's BS. Let's get back to this thing.
It's going to be very hard to find a carrier that's going to actually pay you for extra miles. They do exist. Don't get me wrong. Prime is not one of them. Okay. So you should track those actual miles or the dispatch miles from the actual miles. It gives us a dividend of 44,334 potential miles that we weren't paid for. Tonk average.
You catch that? He ran 44,334 miles for free. How you like them apples? For free.
Averaged 4,558 miles per week. And this is always considered. So if we went home 10 weeks this year and only went home 6 the last year, this is even if you're sitting home, this is an entire average for the 131 weeks that she was in operation. She was in operation for 131 weeks. That's what we had this lease for. 917 days, which is a total hours total of 22,008 hours. So from the time I signed the lease to the time I turned her in, on a 24-hour basis. Hours the truck ran was actually 12,000.
And yes, Barry, you are right. It's what I've always said, different strokes for different folks. But I don't want anybody to think that they have to just go ahead and put up with that, being paid zip code to zip code, and assume it's an industry standard. And the reason I say that is because when I first started in the industry, I started at Stevens Transport. I worked at Stevens Transport my first 4 years driving. The whole reason I stayed there the whole 4 years was because I didn't think it was any better anywhere else. I figured trucking was trucking, and however it was is how it was. And whatever I was going through, I was going to go through at another company, so it didn't matter. And that was ignorant on my part, because not all trucking companies are the same. A lot of people going to Prime are going to be new drivers. You're not going to see a whole lot of experienced drivers going there. So those drivers don't know the difference yet. And that's why I made it a point to point out that no, you do not have to accept being paid from zip code to zip code. There are plenty of companies out there that will pay you practical miles or hub miles or miles, whatever. But he made the statement that it's a kind of an industry standard, and it's not. And that's what I was getting at. Let's get back to him talking about these hours.
1,876.45 hours. Now that gives us, when we went on the truck average hours, that gives us an actual mile per hour average of 46.37 miles per hour. Total lease revenue for Tonk was 1,100,000.
He had an average of 46 miles per hour. I don't believe that either, because I've ran into prime trucks that normally aren't doing more than 55. I do 65 or 67, and I'll average 48 to 50. So if they're doing 55, then he's probably averaging a little lower than that. But I don't know, maybe he's not running 55 like the other ones are.
$78,982.78. This truck grossed to the truck in 131 weeks over $1 million does. Okay, that's total revenue. That's everything. The total average per actual mile was over $1.97 per actual mile. Total dispatch mileage per mile was $2.13.
$1.97 or $2.13, either way you look at that, for either reefer or flatbed, that's bad. That's not real good. But freight rates are low right now, so I'd imagine it's pretty bad for everybody. But it should be a little bit higher than that for flatbed or reefer. I think he said they haul both, but mainly flatbed.
Now, if you want to talk about per operating hour, the truck averaged $91.56 per operating hour based on the hours the truck was actually running. Total hours was $53.57 for the entirety of the 22,008 hours. So now you want to talk about per day, the truck grossed $1,285.69 average per day. Per week, we grossed $8,999.86 average per week. With any kind of revenue, you're going to have expense. Okay, so total expenses for the truck, fixed plus variable, we're going to break them down a little bit here in just a second, was $610,349.37. That gave us a total expense of actual per mile at $1.02 a mile, dispatch per mile $1.10 per mile, $665.59 per day cost. Per week, it cost us on average to run the truck per week $4,659.15 per week. Operating hour while the truck was running, it cost us $47.40 per hour. Total hour, the entirety of the lease, whether the truck was running or not, it was costing us $27.73 per hour. Net revenue to the bank pre-tax, okay, because guys, everybody's taxes are going to be a little bit different. I can't tell you, well, my taxes was 11% of my total gross, and then you guys say, well, I wrote off this, and this, and it was only 8% of my total gross. Okay, that's great. That's why it's situational. So this is net pre-tax after expenses on the road with Prime. Now, this is one thing I want to make clear. None of this is saying out-of-pocket expenses. If me and my wife went and bought a GPS out of our bank account or a TV or any of that stuff, this is all that has been documented with Prime. Everything that came off our fleet card,
POs,
all of our PO stuff that was billed to the truck through Prime. This is stuff that was on paper with Prime. This is not the expenses.
Now, one thing I do give this man kudos for, and I gotta stop and do it while I'm thinking about it, is I do give him kudos for being 100% honest and transparent, because it looks like he's being very transparent with his numbers so that people can decide if that's what they want to do. So I got to give him that. He is doing that. That is a good thing.
Personal out-of-pocket expenses, that's a whole different thing. Okay, this is what you can expect to see from your statements from the end of lease and stuff with Prime. This is what we're going over now. So net revenue to the bank without the end of lease bonus pre-tax, okay, was $534,364.47. So within the entirety of the 131 weeks, we brought home to the bank without the end of lease completion bonus over $500,000. That gives us an average take home of $4,079 per week, which means we were profiting $582.73 per day. That's an 89-cent actual per mile take home pre-tax.
Now remember, you got to break those numbers in half if you're solo.
A 96 dispatch per mile take home pre-tax, $41.40 per hour take home pre-tax, and that was operating hours with the truck running. Total hours, this is what gets me crazy right here. Total hours is $24.28 total per hour. Now yes, that being said, that's me being home. That's me being on the road. That's me being sitting at a shipper receiver. That's just the truck being in our possession, like my wife said. A lot of you guys are coming into trucking and you say, man, I'm just going to make a ton of money. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, for the last 131 weeks, what was it, 917 days of that, I averaged $24 an hour. That's what I made for every hour of every day for 917 days. Okay. The only difference that people don't understand within trucking and another industry is that you can be available to work as much as you want to in trucking. When you go to a regular job or a warehouse job or an industrial job, those hours are broken up into the hours that you are there. That is it. So that can be really good for you in trucking, and that can be really bad for you in trucking. That's for a whole nother video.
He's exactly right. He's hitting the nail on the head there on what he's saying right there.
I'm not going to get sidetracked. So anyways, total for 917 days, every hour of 917 days, I was making $24 an hour and 28 cents. That is not my wife's pay. That was totally on her. That was now part of her expenses was from me. Part of her pay that I was paying for her for a while was an expense to me. But this is not counting her pay. So I want you guys to get that skewed. This is everything that came to me on my driver code, on my LLC, to our business bank account. And because of me.
We weren't teaming the whole time either. You were training.
Yes. And there was a lot of training.
Well, now that kind of changes this up a little bit. Those are his numbers with training involved also. He said there was a lot of training. I don't know how Prime does their training program. I don't know how it works over there for trainers. When I was at Stevens, I got every mile that the trainee drove plus mine. So I mean, it was plus you get a weekly pay on top of it as well. Added in there with it. So that changes it up quite a bit. That actually makes some numbers look a little bit worse because they should be higher than that.
Let's get that off the table. This is very few weeks solo too. I probably was solo maybe 3-4 weeks. I think, and that was just in between students, trying to get to guys, stuff like that, waiting on her to be done. I was not solo very often at all. I trained.
Also, it makes a flatbed and reefer.
Yep, I trained and teamed. Okay, that's another thing. This is a mix of flatbed and reefer, and I'm going to give you guys a perspective about that here in just a minute. Let's talk about the end of lease bonus. The end of lease bonus for Tom ended up being $38,572.97. Now, granted, most of this is money that you're going to pay in as far as your tire fund, your excess mileage charge, yada, yada, yada.
So, see, they do have an excess mileage charge, and they pay zip code to zip code. That's why I don't like that zip code to zip code stuff. That's just a personal preference.
Paying you to lease their truck. There is some incentives, okay, don't get me wrong. There is some incentives, but this is pretty much your money. This is the incentive that you have to complete that lease for Prime. Hey, you're building up all this money. You're putting this money in. If you finish it, you're going to get majority of it.
Basically, what he's saying is it's your money. Like I said, I've never leased there. I leased at Stevens, and the way our lease completion bonuses worked over there was they took 2 cents per mile, went into a separate account. If I didn't finish the lease, I lost whatever was in that account. Whenever if I quit, left, whatever, turn the truck back in, I lose whatever was in that account that took that 2 cents per mile. Now, if I completed the lease, then I got all of that in one lump sum back to me. So it was my money. It was just basically my money they held. So that's kind of what he's explaining here is it's your money, whatever they're taking out for your lease completion. So it's just money that you would have got throughout your lease. They put it all at the end. Make you want to finish the lease is basically what it is.
Back, but if you forfeit the lease, you're not going to get it back because Success tends to take that money. They will hold it. When you turn a lease in early and don't complete it, they're going to hold that for depreciation. You're not going to see any of that money back. But when you turn it in, whatever they actually charge you to get that truck back up to spec for the next driver or to sell, it's going to come out of your pocket. So don't forget that. That is a whole nother video. So we're not going to get sidetracked. Like I say, guys, we could talk about trucking 24/7 for probably 10 years and still never get all the information out. So $38,572.97 total for our EOL bonus availability. After all of our deductions and repairs and stuff like that we were charged for, which was $4,304.03, we ended up taking home $34,268.94 of our money. So we were able to bring back 34K plus, and that was a pretty good week that week. If I'm not mistaken. That was nice. That was nice to be able to see, like, look in the bank and see like 39 grand in the bank in 1 week. That would be a clickbait video. I could just be like, hey, I made 40 grand with Prime this week. Never happens. This is because of the end of lease bonus. So, anyways, it's pretty nice. You get that return back. It was nice. It gave us we were able to take some time off, do some things, and pay some bills off stuff. It was fantastic. Guys, don't get me wrong. That's your money. That end of lease money is your money. We're going to talk about our grand total for the truck, for Tonk. Grand total net revenue, including the end of lease bonus, pre-tax, like I said, $568,633.41, which gave us a total average for a week of $4,340.71, $620.10 per day, 95 cents actual per mile take home, $1.02 dispatch per mile take home, $44.16 operating hour for every second.
Man, those per mile rates just kill me. For flatbed or reefer, that's horrible. It would be bad on dry box, but that's horrible for flatbed or reefer, man. That just kills me.
Truck was running, and then total for the entirety of the 917 days, 131 weeks, we were bringing home $25.83 total per hour. I was, not including Mama's money, or the trainees' money or any of that stuff. This was just my money. So on my side, you're seeing the expenses of her wages, but you're not seeing
and this was back.
It's not adding back in because that's all on her driver code.
And this was back when a student's guarantee was $900. But what the people don't see is that the trainers are paying the taxes and the FICA and all that.
Yeah.
It wound up being $1,400 out of Will's check, and by the time it got taxed and everything, we wound up putting $600 roughly a week
back into the bank.
Into the bank after it went through Prime and then got back to us.
Yeah. Which, once again, you're talking about training pay. That's a whole other video.
That is a whole other video. But I told them to think that, like, we're splitting income.
900 a week training pay. That's pretty good. When I started, I think I started at 300 or 340 a week, something like that, gross, before taxes. Man, training pay has gone up quite a bit.
Right.
There's like something big that I've got put up. No, this is
my pay. We could dive into this all day. It really is. It takes forever. So now here's kind of a little breakdown here of a little bit actual per mile, dispatch per mile per week. I kind of broke this stuff down. Some of you are going to have some questions like, what about repairs? What about miscellaneous? What about fixed costs? And you really didn't break that down. So we're going to do a little breakdown of that. First of all, we're going to start with the revenue here. Total freight revenue only was $887,604.50. Actual per mile, that gave us $1.48 per mile, $1.60 dispatch mile here. And per week, actual freight revenue was $6,775.60. Now, fuel surcharge, we ended up bringing in $167,668.41 for fuel surcharge, which gave us a 28 cent per mile actual mile, 30 cent per mile dispatch per mile, total per week of $1,279.90.
I don't know what the current fuel surcharge is. It's been a while since I've done leasing, but I thought it would be higher than 30 cents. I guess maybe Prime's keeping some of the fuel surcharge as well, because I would think it would be higher than 30 cents. But then again, I may be wrong.
91 cents. Other miscellaneous revenue, which could have been TARP pay for tarping on flatbed side, could be lumper reimbursements, toll reimbursements, detention. All this stuff just constitutes miscellaneous revenue. If you did a trailer repair and Prime paid you, this is all under that little category. So it ended up being $123,709.87. So 20 cents per mile, actual per mile, 22.3 dispatch per mile, and then $944.35 per week. Now, when you start talking about costs, we're going to talk about fuel. These numbers here for fuel and DEF, we are going to go over post discount. So this is our cost, okay, for the fuel and the DEF. So fuel for the 917 days, 131 weeks, cost us $225,945.02, which was a cost of 37 cents per mile, over 37 cents per mile. Actual mile, 40 cents per mile, dispatch per mile, $1,724.
What's up, Scrambled North?
$77 per week cost for fuel. Depth was $8,600.94 total cost for the 131 weeks, which gave us just over a 1 cent per mile cost, actual mile, just over a little bit higher for a dispatch mile, over 1 cent per mile cost, and a $65.66 per week cost for the depth. Repairs, we're looking at, and this is going to constitute any kind of maintenance items, PMs, any of that kind of stuff. Because I had somebody comment a couple of weeks back, "Hey man, I want to break down the repairs."
What's up, Alan Murphy? Hope you're doing well, bro. We're going over this video here where this prime driver claims he made a little over $1 million. I think it was $1,100,000 he claims throughout the entirety of his lease. So that's what we're checking out right here.
How does that look, as far as on paper? I'm not going to go into every time I got an oil change or every time I got a warranty item done they didn't cover or stuff like that. But I will tell you this: maintenance for 131 weeks on that truck costed me out of pocket or out of my settlement $23,380.12, which gave me a total cost per mile, actual miles, almost 4 cents per mile, right here, and then just over 4 cents per mile dispatch miles. So, which gave us a total weekly cost of $178.41 average. Tires, on the other hand, out of what I actually ended up paying, and you build up a tire fund and stuff like that, and this constitutes where that number's coming from as well. Post discount, $9,945.69. This is any kind of repair you had, balancing, any of that stuff constitutes as tires. So, $9,945.69, which gave me a cost per mile just over a penny, so almost two pennies per mile. And same thing with the dispatch miles, almost 2 pennies per mile there. The weekly cost average was $75.92 for 131 weeks. So you can count on that per week. You want to try to keep that put up, at least $80 per week for tires in the long run. Driver wages. This is what I paid every trainee. My wife for the short time that she was company. Anybody that I paid off the truck off my payroll, this is what it constituted for 131 weeks. So $96,838.19, which gave me a driver wage cost of 16 cents per mile actual miles, 17.5 cents per mile dispatch miles, and total weekly cost of $739.22. So that didn't matter. That didn't matter if the truck was moving, not moving, whatever. If I was paying so much wages out that I was actually paying an average of $740 out every single week. Fixed costs, this is things that doesn't change. Your truck payment, APU payment, yada, yada. Anything that is reoccurring weekly that is always the same is your fixed cost. We had a fixed cost of $160.
And you would think an APU would just be part of the truck, but I know at Stevens we paid a APU bill also. It was like $50 a week or something back then.
$68,314.45, which gave us an actual fixed cost per mile of 28 cents, just over 28 cents. Dispatch per mile of just over 30 cents, which gave us a total fixed cost per week of $1,284.84. Miscellaneous costs, this is anything under the sun other than your fixed cost and anything else listed above. Could be something as simple as a toll, anything like that. So miscellaneous costs for 131 weeks was $77,324.96. Total actual per mile on our miscellaneous cost was almost 13 cents per mile right here. And dispatch per mile was almost 14 cents per mile right here. And then weekly cost for miscellaneous was $590.27. Now, guys, I want to make something very clear with you about this right here. These are the backbone numbers for the operation of this truck. Okay, this is basically, it really doesn't get any simpler than this. It only can get more complex. So when you're talking about this stuff, these are your main costs that you're going to incur every single week. These are your main revenue points that you're going to incur every single week. My experience is not going to be the same as everybody else's. I teamed or trained most of the time. Okay, the majority of the time, I would say 95% of the time, I was teaming or training. My thing is like, yes, you're going to have more maintenance as a team truck, but you're also going to end up having more revenue as a team truck as well. So it's all about what you want out of it. Some people can't team, some people can't train.
Well, I'm just going to cut it off right there. Let me get back over here and see what y'all think about this. See what y'all's opinions are on this. Let me get back over here to the Oh, wrong screen. Let me get back over here to the right screen. Come on now. Come on now. Let me get this guy off of there. All right, let's get back up here and see what y'all were talking about because I couldn't see everything y'all were saying while I was doing that. Yeah, yeah. I'm sure. Sounds like you've been over there quite a bit. You know a lot about what they got going on. Now, I will say this that when I broke their numbers down like I did a while ago, right quick, and cut it in half, it was quite a bit less than what I make as a company driver, and I haul dry box. So they're hauling flatbed and reefer. You would think they'd be a little higher. And yeah, Barry's right. We talked about that a while ago, and he's right. I mean, it's different strokes for different folks. But I am glad that the guy was honest with his numbers. He's out front with his numbers. He's not trying to pump his numbers up. I mean, he kind of pumped it up in the title, but not really, Now I thought when I first saw it that he made $1 million. I'm thinking a year, but it was for the entirety. It was 151 weeks. It was almost 3 years, So, and that was a gross number. That was before his fuel. That was before everything. So it really wasn't as great as what I thought it was once I started getting into the video. But then again, a lot of us on YouTube do that, right? I mean, I've done it. Post a post a thumbnail and a video, and you know, yeah, and I'm happy for him. I mean, if that's what he wants to do, if he don't mind um that type of stress, I mean, for that little bit of money, I mean, go for it. You know, ain't nothing wrong with that. Right. He had two trucks. He had a yellow one and then whatever that one there is. There's Scrambled North. This is the TikTok king, by the way. If you're on TikTok, make sure you look up Scrambled North. He is the king of Walmart over there on TikTok. And Alan Murphy. Let me see what you got. Truth is, as a lease owner op, you're always a millionaire on paper, but we get raped so bad out here that we end up living off 40K a year. And I get that 412. I completely do. Now you should be living off a little more than 40K because 10 years ago when I was leasing at Stevens, I was living off of 50, between 50 and 60 back then. And that was at Stevens at only 85 cents a mile because we were being paid mileage. So hopefully you're living off a little bit more than 40K a year. And Alan Murphy, there's nothing wrong with that. I've spent part of my career out here leasing. I spent part of it out here as a company driver. To be honest with you, and this is just me, my personal experience. If I compare my leasing years to my company years, I've made more money as a company driver with less stress, with more home time. When I was leasing, home time was hard to come by. Now, some lease drivers go home all the time, but when I did, it was 2 or 3 weeks trying to catch back up. And you start trying to pay $1,000 a week on your truck and insurance and all that crap, and then you got fuel coming out. You take a week off, man, it hurts. You got to plan for all that, and it's a whole lot less stress out here as a company driver. I had a full head of hair before I started leasing. I have to go find one of my old pictures. I literally had a full head of hair. I am bald on top. So bald that I just shaved my head because if it don't want to be there, I'm not going to make it be there. But I blame leasing for that. It's just like that gentleman in that video we watched said, that they're a young team, so they stay out quite a bit. He's already got gray in his beard. Trust me, it's stressful. It's very stressful. I've only been an owner like 6 months now. Put 20K and took my truck to the company. I'm financing a trailer also and equipment. Year to date we grossed 92, but struggle to pay myself 5K once a month. And I get that it can be rough, you know. And you're running an S corp. That's smart. That's a whole lot better than a sole proprietor. Yeah, I get it, man. I understand. Half-ass TikTok, even worse YouTuber. Nah, Scrambled North keeps me laughing, especially when he's in the bar or he's wherever they're at, or when he's some Mad Max around out there in the parking lot. Man, you got to go check him out on TikTok. And I don't know where he finds these videos at, man, but he finds these videos and he'll kind of react to them, and it's the craziest. I mean, the absolute craziest stuff, man. I made the most money company, and I agree. I did too. Now, with that being said, though, I'm gonna stop right there. With that being said, if a person wants to go lease, I'm not gonna knock them for it. That's what they want to do. Go for it. But at the same time, I would like to tell someone that's going to lease, don't think you're going to lease to make more money. Now, if you're going to lease with the purpose of getting an idea of what being an owner operator might be like, or to work towards being an owner operator, like you're using that as a stepping stone, man, that's what you use a lease for. If you're going there because you think you're going to get rich, you're probably going to you're probably going to be sadly mistaken. You're probably going to be a little upset because it doesn't quite work like that. It just doesn't. You know, trucking in general ages you, and that is exactly right. Scrambled North he is correct. Trucking in general will age you. It's a stressful job. It's a very stressful job, and it's a stressful job that can end at any moment. And I know a lot of people out there, I hope y'all save as much money as you can, because we literally work in a career. Someone pulls out in front of us, it could end our career. You know, you could get hurt. I've even seen guys in their career in the wintertime literally walking across the parking lot. I had a student one time that was walking across the parking lot, slipped and busted his head open, ended his career right then. So we're we're in a job that we have more exposure, with physicals and keeping your blood pressure down and not getting diabetes, eating this fast food all the time. We have a lot of things that can put us out of the industry. And I think that's why a lot of drivers end up homeless, because they don't prepare for these things. You're not going to be able to drive a truck for the rest of your life. So definitely need to save money, and it is a very stressful career. Let's see what old 7Q. What's going on, barbecue man? Bricklaying barbecue man. Nah, we was reviewing a video, and you'll have to go back and catch the replay if you want to see it. But it was a video of a prime driver who had completed a lease over there and had made the claim that he did grossed a little over $1 million over the time period of his lease. So we just finished kind of going through that, and I stated some of my opinions, and some of the people in the chat stated theirs. We were kind of just taking a look at that and putting what we thought out there, right? Let's see here. Yeah, right. And that's what it is, right? It's a it should be a means to an end. If you know, if you're some people lease because they want all the tax benefits of leasing. You get a lot of tax benefits leasing. There's all kinds of different reasons people lease. And I would never knock somebody for saying, "Oh no, you shouldn't go lease. You're dumb if you go lease." I'm not saying that. You do what makes you feel better, what's good for you and your family, what works for you. That's what you go do. Just like a lease driver or an owner operator shouldn't knock a company driver. You don't know what they're thinking. It's like I I toy with the idea of buying a truck sometimes, but then at the same time, I think, all right, I got a 401k, I got insurance, um, I got long-term disability, short-term disability. If I break my ankle, I don't have to worry about it. Something comes up, I ain't sit at the home, I don't have to worry about it. I got bereavement leave, got all kinds of things that I wouldn't have as an owner operator. And if I keep going and I don't go buy a truck, maybe I can retire by the time I'm 50, 55 years old and be done with it completely. Where if I go buy a truck, now I done put all my money into an asset. Am I going to be able to retire at 50, 55? That's my thinking. So everybody's different. You got to do what makes you happy. You got to do whatever it is that you're wanting to do. All I'm saying is save some money in the process. Don't count on trucking to be there forever. Okay. Save some money in the process. Yep. I've been there. I know exactly what you're talking about, man. I've been there. A lot of us have. I parked this at the end of the week, and I don't have to think about it. And Scrambled North's got a point. And I'm kind of the same way. I park my truck when I go home. I get out of it. I put my stuff in my personal vehicle, and I go home. And I don't think about this truck. That they can go do a PM on it. They can spray paint it. They can change the tires on it. They do whatever they want to do. I don't care. I'm not here. It's not my problem, right? And that's one of the things that makes this job a little less stressful. Don't have to worry about the truck when I'm done with it. But with that being said, if an owner operator wants to go buy a truck, or they want to be an owner operator or a lease driver, and they want to take the other route, go for it. Just be smart with it and understand what you're getting into. Like that guy spoke about excess miles. That's something you need to read about if you're going to sign a contract over there. How much money's coming out of your check every week, how they're figuring it up for your end of lease completion bonus. You need to figure that in there. You know, there there's some nuggets in there that he left that a person could put together to make a better educated decision. Want to get a truck? Look up ASCII equipment sales. Well, 412. I'm gonna give you my direct opinion on buying a truck, and this is and there's only 12 people in here, but there's going to be probably 8 of them that do not like this opinion. But it's just my opinion, so please don't get offended. Um, in my personal opinion, if a person cannot work as a company driver and save their money to buy a truck without having to go through some weird program, then they probably don't need to buy a truck. Because what that would mean to me, what that tells me is that individual may have a money management issue. And if they have a money management issue, more money is not going to fix a money management issue. They're just going to have a bigger bankroll to mismanage. It doesn't do anything. That's why you get so many lease drivers or owner operators that go out and fail, because they didn't fix their money management issue before they went and leased the truck. It just doesn't work. I mean, and that's just my own personal opinion. Like, you should save your money and learn to manage your money out here. Learn how to eat where you can afford it and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna throw the link in here just in case anybody wants to hop on. But you should have all that in order before you go lease a truck. In my opinion. But if someone wants to go about it another way, go for it. I know there was a driver that talked about saving up his 401k and then using his 401k to go buy a truck. That's an option. But also, in uh, in my opinion on that as well, hold on here, I'm messing with the laptop. In my opinion on that as well is why would you use your 401k to go buy a truck? You know, um, it just doesn't make any sense. If you can't save your money up to buy one, because your 401k it's not you saving up the money, that's the company doing it for you. So you still got a money management issue, right? The fact that you have to use the 401k to go do it just literally points that you still have a money management issue. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people don't agree, and that's fine. We all have a reason to I mean, we all have our own opinions to deal with that kind of stuff, right? Let's see here. 412. And we all make mistakes, 412. I mean, we all make mistakes. Let's see what Barry has to say. That's why I always apply for loans at Bank of Snapper. Never get approved, so I don't have to worry about excess cash. Well, if you're coming to Bank of Snapper, you are in a bad bind, Barry. You have made some bad mistakes. You may want to start watching some of these money management videos you can get for free on YouTube. Because start what's that guy that wrote that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad? You might want to start reading some of that stuff, because if you're coming to Bank of Snapper, you are in serious trouble. You do not want to come to Bank of Snapper. Close this thing out right here. I'm trying to figure out. Stop screen. All right. I did it and didn't close it all out. That's pretty good. Yeah, I agree. Barry's a nut. He's always got something crazy to say. What do you got off topic? Oh, did I get my new place yet? No, I did not. I have not done anything yet. I'm fixing to be taking my first home time next week. I have looked at some apartments. I have looked at some houses. Um, I'm still looking around. I went and looked. I went by one day. So I went to go wash clothes. I washed clothes over in Grand Prairie, and I went by a set of apartments today. I think they were $975 for a one bedroom. But no, I haven't. That'll be coming here pretty quick. I haven't decided. But anyway, that's all I got for today. I'm going to close this out. I just wanted to go over this video, see what y'all thought about it. And again, I'm happy the guy put the numbers out. It looks like he was being honest about his numbers, and that's great. I'm happy for him and his wife if that's what they want to do and that's what they're happy with. And if you are thinking of going to Prime, that's probably a good video to watch. But keep in mind that he's running teams and flatbed, which pays a little bit better as well. Keep those things in mind and make a good choice about it. Y'all be careful, stay safe, and like I always say, be good to one another. If we ain't good to each other, nobody's going to be good to us. And we're out here all alone. Let's keep trucking.